hitting start stream. Let's see, has it showed up yet? Also, this is... No. There it is. Just a few minutes late. Just a few minutes late, Lafayette. You want to be with Mommy? Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Under Construction. I'm your host, Ellis, otherwise known as the Admiral. With me, I have Goya, right here, and Lafayette, who wants to be with Goya, and not on my lap. We have some questions from last episode, as well as a bunch of things that we need to get done today. Starting with some stuff on the VMR, actually. I think that'll be the quickest thing to get out of the way, while we answer some comments from the previous episode. So, without further ado, we're going to go up and down the VMR and check every road crossing for crossbucks, because there's at least one where they are missing. This is the kind of thing where if you guys are looking around on the route and you happen to notice something, you say something, because then I can do something about it. First things first, though, we need to switch to the route layer. We need to grab a crossbuck, which is you. Let me do this so I can see the chat, of course. There we go. Ayo, it's dog time, says that D59 lad. And Brady says, Oi, El, it's been months I've seen Under Construction. Captain Echo says, hey, it's been a while. Shortland says, hello, Ellis. Hello, everybody.
Hi, guys.
Let's go, yeah. I'm not sure if you're actually visible. You might be just off to the side.
It's
But
okay. I'm never visible.
Okay, so starting from the bottom, I know the ones in Olive are fine. At least I'm pretty sure they are. The reason this never got crossbucks is because I was supposed to do ATLS on this. I don't remember how to do ATLS, so there's that. So for now, I'm just going to drop these here, and I should make a note to myself to like learn TRC and do that. So let's just put that like right there. Nope. This might be the only one that is a problem because of that reason exactly, but I'm not entirely sure. TRC is pretty easy, says Redding 3640. Yeah, I've heard that it's relatively easy, or at least it's easy compared to ATLS. And I'm not saying those people are wrong. I just have never tried to learn it. I learned ATLS, and it seemed like a week later, TRC was out and was everywhere. So I think that's the only... Okay, so there's that wooden trestle there. And we come up through here. Go through here. There isn't a crossing here. I meant to put some cars in this parking lot. Yeah, this whole area needs to get worked on. This is a big empty space that needs... There are none at Lion's Head. Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay, I was missing a piece of track there for a second. If that hasn't queued you in, Shortline is the one that happened to notice the missing crossbucks because he sat down and ran the Lionhead turn, which is awesome. Yeah, see, that has crossbucks. It's just like 2 and 1, one of the crossings, 2 and 2 the other. Oh, let me read that comment in full. 2 and 1 for one of the crossings, 2 and 2 for the other, 2 and 3 for the arrow thing that activates it, etc. Stream running Lionhead turn last Saturday, yeah. If, assuming you did it on YouTube, which I think you did, if, I guess people can go to your channel and see it, question mark? I certainly am not upset with people using the route for your own purposes. Oh, while I'm here, I might as well answer a question about this area. So, we did have a question last week about the Bristol Curve, which was also from Shortline. Oh, sorry, no. Oh, yeah. What is the story behind the Bristol Curve and the cutoff? So, the situation here is, and you might notice it just by looking at this is a 1% grade, and this is a 2% grade. It's almost spot on. And I didn't plan that on purpose. I just sort of went, oh man, how am I going to get from here to here? Because I had built all the terrain first. And I realized, well, if I cut across the river, I can go up the bank of this river and then make a rather sharp horseshoe curve here, and then another curve here, and then up. And so that would have been the thought process of the VMR when they were building this route. And then somebody pointed out, hey, that those turns are really sharp. This is like way out of the way, and you've got 3 bridges on it. You can build a route that's a relatively short 2% grade segment that goes like this. So, this was the easy way. This was the original route, and then, here in the 1950s, they're trying to speed up their north-south route to compete with the Gilson Eastern. And so this is one of the improvement projects that they're doing. It has the added bonus of basically making a very long passing siding. There are sections of the railroad that, pretty much everything's single track with passing sidings. There may be some segments that are double track. I just wouldn't expect to see very much of them. So let's put you there. Learned how to work TRC through an approach medium video from a few years ago. I should find that video. Should do some off-camera work and come back with a chest full of diamonds. I did some work off camera, and here is the entire route. I finished it. I did a little work off camera. There we go. Now, it would be nice for me to sit down and take some time and learn TRC. I should at some point, or at the very least I should relearn ATLS, seeing as we've got ATLS crossings on the route that we're going to have to deal with. But at some point. Okay, so here's one issue. Oh, it wasn't even a track issue. I just put the boxcar in the wrong spot. So, then it's going to take a minute to load this. So yeah, we've got these guys. Oh wait, let's see. Where are the 40-footers that? Yeah, you. That's on the invisible track, but it should be right there. Yeah, because this. Hello, Kaiser. This station building, or this freight house, has its own track there, and I think has its own UI. Yeah, except it only does baggage, Gilsonite baggage, which is, or sorry, Gilsonite bagged. That makes a lot more sense. Because this is actually a 3-foot gauge building from the Uinta. And so I threw down a multiple industry here to accept the general goods, and just used invisible track to cover that. And I put the boxcar down in the wrong spot. You put invisible track underneath normal track. What kind of evil is this? Well, yeah, that's my explanation. This was an industry track that I could not use, so I put a multiple industry on top of it, and I made the actual track invisible. It was the easiest thing to do. Okay, so back to crossbucks, which I think this should be the last one. I should probably put the crossbuck back here, considering. And then like over here. Although no, there may be some other ones over in the valley. Oh, and there's one right here, door. I'm gonna be lazy and do it like this. So I'm just going to put one there. And I'm going to put another one... Oh, wait, no. I've got to do all four of them. Cause... Actually, you know what? No, I'll just do these two. Because the other thing's in an industry. I can get away with that. Okay. Let's see. On the other side. There's one. Put that there. Put this here. It is literally never facing the correct direction. There was another piece to Shortline's comment about Shortlines in the on the map. I don't have a full answer for this because, frankly, I don't know yet. I can take some guesses at the end of the show when we look at the map because apparently that's the tradition. So, anyway. So, that knocks that out. Okay, we did the crossbucks and the VMR. We have a comment from Christopher Wood about doing texturing. I'm going to wait on that because the next thing I want to do is put in the overhead wires, or rather, put them in the right spot for this. There we go. I'm probably just going to have to toss this. I should delete the old ones. If I were to live in an area of the route, where would it be? That's a really good question. Seeing as I don't totally know what all the areas are / look like yet, that is a tricky question to answer. But on the face of it, I mean, it probably. Let's see. So Gilson City is nice, but it has all the trappings and pitfalls of a major city in the 1950s. I mean, it's far from a great place. I mean, it is a great place, and it's a nice city, but it's busy, it's dirty. You know, the advantages to living in a city that we take for granted in this day and age, they don't necessarily exist, at least not the ones you might think of. City living is a little different in the 1950s. That said, it's not like it's any better if you live in a suburb or, rurally. Let's see. In fairness, though, well, this is assuming I can go basically anywhere I want, because there are some areas where I myself would probably not be able to afford to live there, unless, of course, I was able to use all of my money from the modern era, ignoring inflation. Just like I take back all the money I have now, because in 1950 it'd be worth a hell of a lot more. Then I wouldn't I wouldn't mind living on Meridian Isle, which is a very upscale, rich section. I guess it's really a section of Geiger City. So, with that in mind, yeah, maybe I'd live on Meridian Isle. That would probably be a really nice place. Olive and Jefferson are also relatively nice. Obviously, we'll never see what Jefferson looks like. Hull is kind of neat. Hull is way out there on Everett Lake. Again, this is another section that we'll never see. It's a lake town in the middle of nowhere in the mountains. It's probably very, very nice. Actually, yeah, no, we will never see Hull. Oh, you know what? I've got to delete all the tracks too. I forgot about that. I don't know why I'm spending so much time explaining the trappings of 1950s city living to everybody. It's not like you guys wouldn't understand that. Oh. Yeah, it seems that all of the signals have decided to stop working, so. Both of those are facing the wrong way. What did I miss, the Flying Dragon? Not a whole lot. I just started. I did a little bit of work with some crossbucks, and that's about it. I talked about the Bristol Cutoff, in Bristol Curve, and then I started doing this. Um, and I'm in the middle of answering the question of where on the route would I like to live. Um, and honestly, see, Olive wouldn't be bad. It's just, as a Rhode Islander, I'm completely spoiled. I wouldn't want to live someplace that's even 20 miles from everything else because it's too far. Uh, I'm used to going no more than 20 minutes for every necessity I could think of, and absolutely no more than an hour to get to anything that I want to see. So, you know, it's a little cheating on my part, which is why I'm limiting myself basically to Gilson City. Um, Admittedly, if I were to get dropped in this world, Olive or some of the actual Gilson City suburbs wouldn't be all that bad. Because I mean, it's fairly straightforward. They're you know they're just suburbs. Uh, Nothing to write home about, that's for sure. Let me straighten this and see what happens. Yeah. How far can this trolley pole get? Why didn't you? Why didn't I upload a stream last week? Because my grandfather passed away, and we were busy with that. It's also why there wasn't a local royale last week. So, yeah, I mean, what can I say except for I probably want to live in Gilson City. It's not in the middle of nowhere. It's an oceanside city, so it's familiar to me. Uh, Thank you guys. It's been tricky. It's been well, tricky isn't the right word. It's been difficult. Uh, this is a sort of funny anecdote that goes along with it, I suppose. As funny as an anecdote around a death can be. Uh, the day after the funeral, a an old friend of mine from college texted me, and she said, "Oh, hey, how are things?" Just out of the blue, haven't talked to her in months. How are things? And I couldn't answer for a couple of days because I didn't want to just be like, my grandfather died. That's how things have been. How about you?" And I ended up saying something almost to that effect, but I put some context to it, which was, closer to, "I'm sorry I haven't responded, blah, blah, blah. Uh, this is why." So, whatever. Life sucks, then you die. I passed away last year, so I know how it feels. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Yes, my love.
My aunt Brenda says hi.
Hello.
Also, I was wondering if there's any chance we could take Audrey sometime soon.
Just for a weekend? I suppose so. Has she been to IKEA?
No? We're gonna take her on that
Uh,
IKEA?
That'd be kind of funny. Hey, it'd be something to do, right?
Yeah.
What is locomotive versus can you explain it? Okay. So, locomotive versus, or local royale, is a, well, effectively a game show at this point, where we take steam locomotives and pit them against one another in a statistical and style-based competition. And the statistics in particular, they come from a database called the Locobase, or steamlocomotive.com. It's made up by a couple of really fantastic individuals, Steve Lanso and Wes Barris, who I've been in touch with. Not only do they give us our blessing in terms of using the database, they are... What is he doing?
Get down.
What is he doing? He's trying to eat the coaster?
Out.
Uh,
Trust you.
what do you think he's gonna do? Sus. What is... What is my loco base ID? 69, obviously.
Jesus Christ.
What?
I love
Love you. I didn't know that you had a game show. Yeah, no kidding. Again, it sort of just started out as a show, and then I sat down and realized, oh, what we've done here is create a game show. Uh, and yeah, and so we do that. I mean, just about every week. We typically do. It's seasons of 6 episodes, so 5 regular episodes and a season finale, and I mean, what do I explain from there? And then we usually put a gap between the seasons just to let everything cool down, just to not burn people out on Locomotive Royale. So we are in the middle of a season called the Region Royales, where we've been doing a locomotive from each region of the U.S. in every Royale, and a Royale is 5 locomotives against one another instead of just one-on-one. So yeah, I mean, you can check that out. The most recent Royale just came out as of you know as of well, probably less than an hour ago, less than half an hour ago even. Uh, yeah, don't. My name is not Elliot. Uh, okay, so we put up those catenaries. Overhead wire is done. Let's look at the comments real quick. Uh, okay, there's PRR production says the signals probably isn't working as a spline point for the switch that's flashing red. Means the switch is not going to work and you'll have to remake it. In my experience, what that actually just means is that it can't do the animated points and frogs. It should be completely fine as a switch. Why these aren't working is probably some sort of faulty corona, and I probably should just do a database repair and it'll fix it. I assuming that'll do it. That's thinking back, that's what it tends to be. Anyway, yeah, because all the other, whatever, the other ones are causing problems, but. And Redding 3640, of course, says Tolbrun isn't a route, it's a way of life. Mopac82 asks me about the railroads of Tolbrun in the modern era, and there's a little bit that's been written on that, but in full truthiness, I don't know yet. I don't know everything yet. Anyway, I need to make these switch stands good, and you as well. We need to come through here and do switch stands. So I think, yeah, you guys, the New Century switch stands are the ones that we should be using. Although I think the no target ones are probably going to be the go-to ones for most of the switches here. The ones in the street are all being done without. Imagine VMR and the ZNSR are merged like in the 60s, compete with Gilson and Eastern. Yeah, that would probably make sense. I know that the Gilson Eastern survives to the modern day. But the Banana Company in the modern years own everything. No, the Banana Company probably is defunct. Sorry to break your heart. But nobody gets fresh fruit like that anymore. Just the way it is. Wrong button. So, I guess I'm going to think about this right now. So, the VMR, or sorry, yeah, the VMR would probably end up wholesale taking over the GMR. And the GMR would probably eventually go defunct. The after the Banana Company. I need to look at the map before I really start to dig into this, but okay, let's see. This is orange and green. What did I do? I did this one. What is this one? Yeah, it's also orange and green. What about, because I know I've done some of these. What were you again? Also orange and green. Also orange and green. What about this one? Oh, that one doesn't have a target. I need to find one of these that's like a yard one that doesn't just not have a target, because I use those a lot because I didn't bother figuring out the okay, we'll use these, the red and white ones. The white is just going to be this industrial track, I guess. Yeah, it's fine. Actually, that one should be white-yellow. This one should be red and white. This one should be red and white. Oops, misclicked. This one should be red and white. Although, this one should probably be like red and orange. Although, hi Dean. Oh, I missed. Although we need the other one for this. And I will set these guys to... Well, this should be like white and yellow. Orange, white. Yeah, there we go. I think I want the right side one for this. Yeah, it's fine. You're fine. You're good. What was that? Oh wait, it was just the thing. Hey Pat. Let's see. Orange, white. Yeah, that's what I want for you. Yep. And then we need to go back to the red and white for this. Oops. There we go. Oops. Okay. No. Oh man, I'm making a mess of the place. Okay. So there we go. And the two of you. Do you think this map is going to be the ultimate experience? No. No. Unless the ultimate experience involves just stuff plain old not working, which is possibly totally reasonable and fair. No, this map's not the ultimate experience. Alright, so we got the switch stands in. I'm so eager to mark stuff off that I'm not double checking. Like, I'm not checking my own work. I may have created a disaster. Never know. Everything else just has no... This route is amazing, but it could be better. Oh, yeah? That better not be a challenge. I'm already spending so much of my life on this. Oops, wrong thing. Okay. So we got those in. And disasters are what beta testers are for. So we got the switch stands in. We do need to do the track marks in here. I'm not totally sure how I'm going to do that. But that is a question more towards the end of the show. How many years have I been building the rad for? A lot. Many. Okay. So, the next thing is doing some culverts. anyone can be beta testers for this. If you want a copy of the route, just poke me on Discord. I need culverts, and I used some culverts over... Where did I use a culvert? I know I just saw one. Oh, you know what? I think it's more down here. I think it's closer to Adams. Yeah, that's right. It's over here. We have this. Although, oh, give me that. Let's do... Who's in here? Show search filter. Culvert. Yeah, okay, we can use these. Should the game have the capabilities of playing the route? Yeah. Is it the ultimate experience? Maybe, if you can run it. That we probably don't need a culvert for. Here we might, but it's not so obvious, so I think I might not bother with it. Here we definitely do. Oh. That's not doing what I needed to do now, is it? Okay, I'm gonna have to lower this into place. Yeah, that's fine. That's probably it. I think I'm just gonna leave that one there. That's gonna be it. I know that seems woefully inadequate for the amount of water that's supposed to be coming through here, but you know what? It is. That's just gonna be the way it's gonna be. Okay, so that's all I really want to do for culverts, I guess. And there was a comment about that. Oh, the track problem, we're done with that. So yeah, it looks like today is going to be relatively automation heavy if we get done all the other things I had on my list. Which, I mean, one of them was to start renaming things, and frankly, I should probably take that off the list. But we are supposed to do some texture work. Hold on. Get rid of this for the moment. Goodbye. Texture work. Now, where can we do texture work? Okay, probably over here. Because we were doing this, and I can probably do work up to, like, here. And that's going to be it. Meanwhile, we can talk about that question of what is going to happen to the various railroads of the Tolbren Peninsula. And minus the AI, how complete is this route? Tiny baby fraction. You will see at the end of the show. If you're still around, or you can check the end of last episode, I think I show it as well. So, there are 4 or 5 major railroads on the peninsula. Okay. And you would expect that maybe, by the end of the modern merger era, there are going to be maybe 2. And those are going to be the Gilson Eastern and something else. The Gilson Eastern will almost certainly have taken over all operations from the New Shoreham Tramway. It's just not a thing that could survive on its own. In fact, it's possible that you could have an MBTA sort of situation where there's a contract that goes out for the commuter services that are, they're paid for by the city or by the municipality, and in the in the Gilson Eastern, sorry, is the one that is actually doing the running. You sure becomes like Conrail shared assets. That would make a lot of sense. At least the freight, yeah, the freight ops for sure. Um, I need to get back to being used to texturing because I don't even remember A, what my techniques were, and B, what I was even really trying to achieve here. I assume this is the same texture as this. As you may notice, I'm always holding one of the... This is always going crazy because I'm always holding one of the texture direction keys. Just one of the brackets. It pays, guys. It matters. It makes things look a hell of a lot better. So yeah, between the Gilson Eastern probably basically remains on its own. It expands in that capacity. I don't think it would expand. I'm not certain it would really take over one of the other class 1s on the peninsula. It might, but I don't think it necessarily would. In fact, I think it's far more likely that the other two do end up together. I'm using this for areas where the slope is a little steeper. Oh, maybe I did say I wouldn't be doing stuff on this side of the river up here. That's entirely possible. Really, I should be working from this direction down on this side of the river. So I'm going to switch focus here, at least for a little bit. Now, these were the samples that I made to copy-paste around. Also, we need to finish this ballasting. So you'll notice I'm using a specific kind of texture underneath. It's not a specific texture. Obviously, it's different for roads versus railroads, and it's different for different segments of railroads. Whatever I feel like goes well. In this case, this ballast texture, I don't know, just felt right to me, so I stuck with it, and I've been using it up and down the Gilson Eastern here. Specifically, how do you texture roads? My textures are my towns are less decent, like I never really textured too well, so any help is useful. Remember, kids, if you problems, copy and paste. Yeah, copying and pasting is actually very useful because you can have these large. All right, see animatronic brothers. You can have these large swaths of landscape, and as long as you get a small piece that you like, then you can, you can just replicate that over and over again. So I am trying to fill this in here, and I think the reason I didn't is because I was going to copy paste some stuff, namely some trees or the ground textures. Actually, that's what it was. I was going to copy paste the ground textures, but I'm pretty sure there's a setting I can use where it won't overwrite any of the textures I've created thus far. I will double check that and we will find out shortly, but so yeah, this is part of it. It's it's finding the right textures, it's spinning them, it's putting them where they belong, and like I say, it doesn't have to be complicated, it just has to look good. And once you find a formula that works, stick with it. If your routes are coming out and you don't like the way they look in terms of texture, stop and think about why. Is it the textures you're using? Are they too vibrant? Do they not go well together? Is there something you're missing? A bad texture can be helped incredibly much by just using some sort of grass spline over top of it. That helps. It really does. It makes a world of difference. The synergy, and I am using that word, the synergy between a good grass spline and a good texture under it can make a world of difference. And you can vary them a little bit. You can have the same texture with several different grass splines. you can have the same grass line with several different textures, which the Tane track came with its own matching ballast texture. Yeah, and that's a good thing to point out. Like, you don't have a matching, like, identical ballast texture, but you don't really need one. You just use something that looks, you know, use something that is close-ish, or just something that you think looks good. And that's a important point to make. You don't think it looks good, right? And you might be comparing it to some of the more professional routes, maybe a jointed rail route, or you know, maybe even something like this. Not that this is even the least bit professional, but it's something. And you're going, mine doesn't quite look like that. You need to sit back and look at the two and figure out why that is. And the thing you might not know is the techniques that go into this, and that's totally fair and understandable and reasonable. And I need gravel here. I definitely need some gravel here. This is something else to keep in mind, is just the situations. Which is, so we have this area here, right? What's with the farm, with the track? This is a creamery. So they will be loading milk onto the thing here. Speaking of which, I need to make a note for operations here, which is GRR Creamery Industries. If you have this area right here, you're probably going to want to have a gravel or at least a dirt lot, because you can expect that you can see vehicles that are pulling off of the road and pulling up to the farm. So, maybe it won't be the whole length. You just want the gravel patch here. The GR is a lot more industry than the VMR. That is very true. The GERR runs through a lot more populated areas. The whole thing of it is, the whole reason that the competition exists, basically, is the Gilson Eastern, or what became the Gilson Eastern, came along first, and they built this railroad that runs along the edge of the peninsula, which was an engineering feat at the time, especially the south side, which is, I've said many times the south side is more mountainous, although I don't know if that's necessarily going to be true. It just depends on what I feel like when I get there, really, at the end of the day. But it was fraught. It was difficult. I don't know. It was a modern marvel, and in a similar way to the original New Haven line through Connecticut was a modern marvel of its time. It's not the most amazing thing looking back on it, but at the time it was pretty impressive. And I know I said I wouldn't, when you get there you'll be exhausted or full of life. Yeah, no kidding. Maybe a little bit of both. Maybe I'm exhausted already, but I'm here for the long haul on this. And then that basically gave the VMR, or sorry, it gave the railroads which would become the Gilson Eastern, which were the Jefferson and Gilson Railroad, and another one that I've yet to name. I believe yet to name, a virtual monopoly over north-south traffic along the coast, particularly north-south traffic that involved the city of, Geiger City, which was a fairly important city and still is at this time. So people endeavored to see what they could do about that. Realizing that Gilson City was too difficult a nut to crack, at least right then and there, the VMR was created and chartered to build a north-south line through the mountains, through the Volga Mountains, per the name, hence the name, which would run up, basically north-south. It would connect the city of Wambeck in the south, or further south, the city of New Demag, uh, and the city of Jefferson to the north, which ostensibly has a connection to the Temerals Vale and Anaconda, although I've never actually drawn that on the map, and I'm not totally sure if it will. I think it will. I think it does. Uh, and these are all basically regional railroads. There's nothing crazy to write home about. And I think I'm going to put grass in here. And I'm going to put grass right on this siding. Because there needs to be something there, I feel. And that something is not going to be... It's not going to be easy to do it if I'm trying to be really careful with it and like dodge in between here. I'm going to try, but there will be some tufts of grass on this track. Some of it just totally shamelessly. I'm going to try to keep it out of the road, though. Why did the tramway come into existence? So the new Shoreham Tramway, that is basically just an overgrown terminal railroad, an overgrown port railroad that started scooping up little regional lines for commuter service when they transitioned, or when they started expanding their passenger business. Let's see, this area right here, I want a really patchy grass, and I think I'm going to put chickens in this area. Maybe like a chicken coop. I wonder if we have one of those. Hold on. I do. Cool. So exactly like the New Haven. Yeah. It is the kind of thing where you can see a lot of the sort of similar histories of our real railroads and the railroads of the Tolworm Peninsula if you look closely enough. Even if you don't look that close. Every railroad has a surrogate, more or less. You can see the surrogates of some railroads fairly easily. I mean, if you want to look at the Gilson Eastern here, it's a 4-track main line. It doesn't take a genius to say, oh, it's probably based a little bit, or heavily maybe, on the PRR. In actuality, it's not just based on the PRR, it's also based on the New Haven in terms of its routing. It's based on the PRR and the New York Central to an extent in terms of its operations. Get out of the trash. Thank you. Meanwhile, the VMR is more or less akin to the Rio Grande. They wanted to go straight through the mountains, and they did. I haven't written the full history of the VMR, but there will probably be plenty of foibles in there. Yes, it does have a water level route. Yes, that's another thing that I meant to mention. You have the construction, which is very similar to both the New Haven and the New York Central. You have the general feel and the level of technology, which is very similar to the PRR. There's a lot of influence of all these different railroads here. Okay. So this right here, would the locomotive designs be similar to the PRR and DRGW? So, not exactly. I had written down... Yes. I had written down the sort of preferences of the different railroads, and I have created locomotive rosters for all of them, which also is important in terms of their, what they're based on. But I would have to look back again and see. The Gilson Eastern is sort of a jack of all trades road. They have a little bit of everything. Well, they really have a lot of everything. There are some things that I don't think they have. I'm not sure they have any mountain types, for example, which would make sense. They have Burks for every freight service. They have Mikados. They don't have a lot of decapods. I don't think they don't really have the use for them. The VMR feels like an Eastern version of the DRGW a la Clinchfield, which is why I love it. That's a good point. The other thing the VMR pulls from, though, and I was about to get to this in its locomotive choice, and I mean, honestly, if you look at one of their RS3s, for example, or actually the 950 series has the bigger logo. So Vermont, the Vermont Railroad has a similar logo, or the Green Mountain, and they in turn sort of pull from the history of the Rutland. So they are very much an Alco-centric road, and they also are a Mikado-centric road in that they do enjoy just double-heading trains, etc. They're not a railroad with a lot of money to burn. They have what they have, and they are trying, or they try their hardest to use it most effectively. They also have a disaster of management, which is always causing gigantic problems for them. There's a crash ship. Yes, though this is a beached ship, actually. This is a shipbreaking yard. I'll get to that eventually. So, the... What? What? Hold on. Replace, add. I should just... Oh, I guess that only applies for objects then, huh? Oh, so that's why I didn't do that. Alright, well, let's grab a very small section and start using it. Very secure with the forest. So yeah, the VMR took a lot of inspiration from the Rutland, which, again, if you're looking at it, really shouldn't surprise too many people. Of course, the surprising part is that anything took inspiration from the Rutland, because Rutland sometimes feels like America's forgotten Class 1. But there they are. Northeastern Lake Road would be ready to be turned around. Quick, someone resurrect a Perlman in this universe. Yeah, right? The fun thing about the VMR's management, I know I've talked about this in videos in the past, but it's been quite a long time. So, it was I believe, a transcontinental railroad type situation where two different railroads were given the go-ahead to meet in the middle, and when they did, they would become one. Now, the becoming one obviously isn't necessarily a thing that happened in our timeline, because you had the CP hanging on for a little while. Although, they eventually became one. But you have the two halves of the railroad, which, despite merging into one corporate entity and ostensibly being one railroad, the north and south halves of the VMR are managed differently, and they're run by different boards, which is absurd. But that's the way it is. There was something that created a problem there, which was there was a maximum size that the board could be, as stipulated by the charters. And, in sort of the way the railroads were set up. There was no inherent stipulation that they had to merge the two boards. And there came a point when the railroads merged that they kept the boards separate because both of them were at capacity, so to speak, and nobody wanted to give up their seats. So, you're left with this incredibly dysfunctional railroad because you have the North and South controlled by different heads uh, who don't really get along with one another. It's almost, if you can think about two political parties, for example, in the US, the two political parties, when one is in power, oftentimes they do whatever they can to snuff out the other one. And when one of these two halves of the railroad uh, gets leverage on the other one, it just basically becomes a war. Or I should say, it has become a war. They could modify the charter, perhaps, but that would potentially mean each individual person still ends up with less power. And it's a give and take. When the option's on the table, there's always a group that doesn't want it. And they can't come to an agreement, and it's not like they need a majority. They need to come to an agreement. And so you're left with this very dysfunctional railroad. This was not something that was foreseen when the road was created. Now, for most of the history of the VMR, this didn't prove that much trouble. I mean, it sounds like hell, and it was, but admittedly, the railroad still ran, and they still worked on projects. They still more or less agreed on what was best for the railroad because it made everybody money. Everyone shared the same purse, more or less. At least everyone shared the same revenue stream. So the biggest problems start to come about when there's major disagreements between the boards about dieselization. You have one half of the railroad that uses diesel power as road power and steam power as helpers. And diesel power as switchers most of the time as well. Basically, they only keep steam engines around as helpers because unit for unit they're more powerful. And then there's the other half of the railroad which keeps steam engines around because we already have the facilities for them. Why would we transition like that? We will throw in some diesels for helper power when we need it. And that is the biggest problem they have. Things got even more complicated politically when they merged with the the Everett Lake Railroad, but that is a long story for another time. Well, it's not like I don't have time now, but there's actually a whole document on the history of the Everett Lake Railroad and its fits and starts. It was a troubled road, needless to say. It is chaos. It's hell. It is basically the sole reason why A, they don't have enough money to do the things they need to do to be competitive. They continue to exist because of their deals with other people, and that's why when we whittle the peninsula down to two railroads, it's really a question of who merges with who. Do we have the Zion and Skyline take over all that mountainous railroad, which also, I might add, is not super likely to happen because the Zion and Skyline is in no small part the successor to the Akron-Macon Railroad, which was the competitor to the Everett Lake, which again is something that the VMR merged with, so there's bad blood there, you could say. It's a politically difficult thing to think about. Again, not like, it's not like being at odds with a railroad has ever prevented people from merging. Not like I'm even going to mention the name of the Forsaken one. But it presents a small hurdle. And if you look at it, admittedly, if you look at it, that merger does make a lot of sense. The greatest railroad in history. Yeah, no. No. Mm-mm. It is the Zion. Oh, sorry, the Gilson Eastern, which is a primarily, or sorry, yeah, the Zion and Skyline, which is an east to west railroad, and the VMR, which is a north to south railroad with an abandoned portion that used to be the east to west railroad. So it gives them a lot of coverage, and it doesn't, surprisingly enough, give them a lot of parallel lines. Whereas a say a Gilson Eastern VMR merger, uh, I'm Railroad is bringing out maps when the merger talk begins. Yeah, that's true. Uh, so if we're talking about these mergers, it obviously doesn't make sense for the Gilson Eastern and the VMR to merge. It would basically just be eliminating a route at that point. It doesn't make sense. I mean, it makes a little bit of sense for the Gilson Eastern and the Zion and Skyline to merge, and they've gotten along pretty well in the past. Uh, but it makes the most sense of all for the ZNS and VMR to merge. Hey, Kevin. So we're left with that eventuality, which again is a disaster from a political standpoint. But if we want to make our lives easier, even though this isn't super advantageous for the Zion and Skyline, the Zion and Skyline would probably be the dominant power in that merger, and hopefully would bring the full cloud of their internal politics into it and snuff out any of this insanity that is the internal politics of the Volga Mountains. One would hope, anyway. At some point, I intend to write up all these histories, and we will see where these go. Get some really patchy grass, like I said. Let's see if I have any. Yeah, ultra texture, patchy grass. Actually, I think I like the way that looks. So, yeah, Conrail shared assets, or perhaps just Gilson Eastern. It's entirely possible that the VMR and Zion and Skyline would merge, which would trigger the Gilson Eastern into assuming as much possible control over the shared assets, which would be the former New Shore Tramway, as possible. Would that be would they be able to do that as much as they would like to? Probably not, but they would sure as hell try. And I'll look into this, and I'll look into what the possibilities would be, but it feels like the Zion and Skyline and the Gilson Eastern might be set to merge. Uh, any railroads here take on inspiration from the Santa Fe? Honestly, no. We're not in the right locale for that. Uh, and I don't know enough about the Santa Fe to make a railroad that takes inspiration from it. Unfortunately. The main inspirations around are, I mean, I would say the PRR, the Rio Grande, and the N&W. With a sidebar to the Rutland, New Haven, New York Central, and a handful of other roads. Okay, so if we've closed that gap. And what do you think? Especially, I hope Christopher Wood watches this stream and sees this right here, because this is an area that was untextured. Yeah, we had the splines down, but now we've filled in this area. We've filled in this gap. The next thing to do is fill in everything north of this river. And as we do, the thing I'm going to be doing is just dropping down clumps of trees. Because all of this area maybe not the area that's inside the limits of the farm, but probably a lot of it. All of this area is going to be forested. The only thing anyone would need to know about Santa Fe War. Kodachrome. Kodachrome's pretty good. I should throw a book on the Santa Fe at you. I wouldn't mind a good book on the Santa Fe. I would read that. I don't know very much about it. There's another thing that people need to know about the Santa Fe, which is the Gorge War. That's also important to know. A blue train, yeah, that's true. They did have that, but then again, so did the Reading. Or, sorry, CNJ. Oh God, Matt, don't kill me. I confused the Reading and the CNJ. You're gonna... There's hell to pay now. Is it adding? Oh, it's just add... Oh, crap. Let's undo that, because that's gonna be way too many trees. As a reskinner for Tobrin, could make one of them have a Kodachrome scheme. You know what would be really funny, actually? Here's your failed merger, and this ties into what I was just saying. If you have a Kodachrome-esque scheme, that would be the... He's chewing on this thing. That is such a sound. I hate that sound. Oh my God. I can just hear Lafayette, like, running his teeth along his pig ear, or cheek chip. Just... It's terrible. It's like nails on a chalkboard to me for some reason. I don't know why. What?
Huh?
What'd you say? What did you say? Did you call me a pussy? God damn.
I love you.
I love you too. Am I ever gonna try City Skylines? Maybe someday. I have SimCity 4 for that right now. So, actually, yeah, if you had a scheme that was relatively close to Kodachrome, at least in spirit, it would have to be the foregone conclusion of a merger between the Zion and Skyline and the Gilson Eastern. You know? You might expect, oh, you know what? That would be easy. Why wouldn't we do that? And for their entire lives, the ZNS and the Gilson Eastern have got along like a house on fire. So, why wouldn't you expect that, right? Well, the Zion and Skyline figured they could get more bang for their buck by way of purchasing a different railroad, and that would be the VMR. So, yeah, that happens instead, and many people are left to wonder. In fact, I have little doubt that what may have even happened, is that the Zion and Skyline was very positive on the merger, but just plotting, you know? Just figuring out, like, this isn't actually a thing to do. This isn't a good idea. Let's not do this. But let's just string them along so nothing goes wrong. Rotate your pacing. You can see the pattern. Oh, you're right here. How's that? I keep forgetting. I usually would do rotations just in between, but I've not. Yeah, if we fill this in, it means we have continuous scenery. Oh, we're missing some stuff over here. That's right. Well, that's not right. This area needs to be filled in. See you, dragon. This area, yeah. So this area definitely needs to get done. I'm just doing the easy stuff over here. I should be working from this. Wasn't there a ripped up line over this way? Yeah, there's the old the shoreline section, I think, which peels off right here. Ran this way. There's a abandoned trestle here, even though the rails are still nice and shiny. Curved this way along the edge of this farm. Ran over here, ran up here, and presumably ran through here. Oh, we're missing a spot. Let's fill that in. Let's find some muddy or dirty texture for that. Oh, and here's another spot. Let's see, what works well there? We're missing this as well. How about just this, the forest floor dark? Oh, I missed it. Oh no, I didn't. No, I didn't. What? How come I can't grab that? Oh, that's why. Silly me. Only in 2019 you can probably find some rusty rails that would work for the ripped up stuff. Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's rusty rails in other versions, but we're gonna need to find some grass that goes well with this. It's the hobbits. They're out there. They run trains over that. The thing is, this isn't based on any particular prototype. Oftentimes, particularly when I was working on Mason's Landing, there were areas near the quarry area. Was there? There may have been. No, I guess not. It was just this. It's just when the line splits into two. See on the map there is a line marked as abandoned there. Oh no, sorry, that's not abandoned. That's dotted line, that's proposed. Originally, because this little spit of land here actually continues as a chain of islands all the way to about here, where it meets with the coastline again. So in order to avoid Olive, at one point there was a proposal to run 2 tracks of this out across that so you could get to Jefferson faster. But that never came to fruition. The costs were deemed way too high for what they would get out of it, which is not much. You know what? I swear I've had some beach sections maybe up here. Yeah, there's this beach section. But I can't remember what I was using for these little inlets. Oh, I can use this. That's what I can use. This area needs to be woods. This area all needs to be woods. Yeah. That's a problem for a different time. That's probably a task for a future episode. In fact, I'm gonna write out. Let's see. Where's my little to-do doc? Goal, scenery, barrier islands, and quarry area. That's something we can work on next time. I got lazy with this. I didn't finish that. This is just stuff I'm going to grass, I guess. See, when I built this a couple years ago, I had an idea. And now I don't have that idea anymore. So, yeah. So there we go. And this is stuff that I should be writing down. I should be putting it in my ideas document or something. But it would make sense to me. It wouldn't be totally outrageous. The idea that the VMR, or sorry, the Zion and Skyline and the Gilson Eastern were set to merge to the point of making stuff, and the Zion and Skyline was also negotiating a deal with the VMR. The VMR said, "Okay, we're in," and the Zion and Skyline went, "All right, we're doing that instead of this," and the Gilson Eastern was just left high and dry. And so they took revenge by just basically grabbing hold of the New Shoreham Tramway. You know, uh, it would be a betrayal the likes of which has never been seen in railroad politics. At least, I mean, there probably have been similar ones in real life, but oh yeah, there's that guy. I forgot to put that guy there. His boat's hovering, isn't it? Although, wait a minute, I think I remember if I lower this, the boat just fills with water. So he's just going to stay where he is. Yeah, let's continue going along the coast and filling in these little gaps with Oz gravel. And then, oh, you know what? We need to do the sand first in those areas, and then we can come back and do this. This also needs sand. I should be doing the sand first, honestly. I don't know why I'm hesitating with that so much. Oh, did I miss my daily? I hope not. I might have. Like the remnants of the OG G&E mainline. G&J, uh, the G&J was very rudimentary, which is interesting. I mean, it's kind of what you'd expect from the era, in that it's been rebuilt and rebuilt and rebuilt. I feel like almost every major railroad we can think of, if we look at their main line, there's always sections that have just been just left, just laid to waste, just almost forgotten about. There are sections of embankment and stuff like that. Even if you look on like the PRR, uh, the area where the Star Barn is today is an old effectively PRR right of way that got built around because it was straighter to not do that. And there are plenty of instances here where basically the same thing happened, except the added factor here is that the north coast of the peninsula, and the south coast to some extent, but more the north coast than anything else, gets nailed by hurricanes. Not super often, but once every few decades, you get a pretty big storm, and once in a lifetime, you get a huge storm that just tears things apart. Uh, in particular, there's the hurricane of 1878 that I've referenced in documentation for Tolbrand a few times, which is part of the reason the Jefferson and Gilson main line had to be rebuilt pretty much from scratch. Olive had to be basically rebuilt from scratch. And the Mason Valley Railroad, the one that we've been working on, which was originally 3-foot gauge, basically got wiped off the face of the earth. And it was then just sold for pennies on the dollar to the Gilson Eastern. And from there, they converted it to standard gauge and used it for their own purposes. It's not rocket surgery to figure out what happens at that point. Because there was no way that, it was a lucrative little line, but the amount they were going to get from it in terms of selling it, just selling it off, versus the amount that they would have got from it if they had set down the time to rebuild it, it wasn't worth it to them. I need to flesh out the history of the GMR, who was the controllers of the line at the time. But they may have been in the middle of another major project and could not spare the funds to try to work on restoring this effectively nothing branch line. Especially considering no matter what, they had to make a transfer of goods. Like, barges can pretty easily get to Mason Valley. And so anything that would be shipped out by barge can go directly from the 3-foot in Mason Valley onto a barge. Anything that could be shipped out by standard gauge could be run down the valley on 3-foot gauge and then put onto a standard gauge train. Now, if that valley line was standard gauge, things that are coming off the 3-foot gauge and go into a barge, same deal. Things that are coming off the 3-foot gauge and going out of standard gauge, same deal, except it just happens in a different spot. The most major difference is the actual traffic out of Mason Valley, and while, yes, that was lucrative for them, ish, it wasn't a ton considering just how short the line was. And again, you had to transfer the stuff off of 3-foot gauge cars to get it anywhere else. It's not like there was a producer in Mason Valley and a consumer in Mason's Landing. It was almost always there was a producer in Mason Valley and a consumer somewhere else. And no matter where that was, you had to take stuff off of the 3-foot gauge cars if you were sending stuff down the valley line on a 3-foot gauge. Basically, no matter where it wasn't getting there on a 3-foot gauge car. And even if it was, that place was deep in the mountains and not in the direction that this poor little line was. There was virtually no advantage for them to hang on to this line. For those who haven't read the history of the VMR, or sorry, the Valley Line, not the VMR, there was another name for it. There was hold on, I have it open. The Mason Valley Railroad, unsurprisingly. It was independent for a long time, and its construction, of course, being messy, just like anything else. But when the Geiger Mountains Railroad made it into Mason Valley, part of a deal that had been made many years prior came into effect, which was the railroad just gets handed over to the Geiger Mountains. The reason that deal happened is because the Geiger Mountains brought their work crews, their expertise, even their head, Samuel Tellalil, I believe, to Mason Valley in order to help finish the construction of the railroad when a couple of minor disasters happened which robbed the railroad of, well, all of its money, most of its work crew, and some of its, most of its expertise. So, the GMR came down, helped the Mason Valley Railroad get done with the stipulation of, hey, if we ever make it here, if we ever build a railroad into Mason Valley, which wasn't really in their, purview at the time, we get the railroad. I need some water, hold on. So, yeah, that's what happened there. So the railroad went from independent to being run by the Geiger Mountains. And then when that was over with, the railroad, very quickly that was over with, and so then the railroad fell to the hands of the the Gilson Eastern. Can't keep these straight in my head. It is tough to do stuff and also talk. I mean, people. A lot of YouTubers get crap, and streamers, of course, get crap for like, oh, you missed this obvious thing that the audience sees and that you didn't. And it's like, well, you're focused on multiple things at once, and I'm sure plenty of people understand this. Plenty of people have made light of it. It's not exactly a groundbreaking thing that I'm saying here, but it is harder than you think. It's harder than you expect. I'm not saying don't make fun of me. I'm just saying bear with me a little bit because my thoughts are fragmented and all over the place. Okay. So, did we grab this? Yes, we did. So we're going to proceed down here. Let's make that just a hair bigger. Oops. Okay. Actually, no, I think I want it even bigger. Yeah, there we go. No, I lied. That was too much. I just joined. Where are we on the map? We are on the Gilson Eastern Main Line, the lower portion. I don't actually have a name for this area, I don't think. Thanks, Kay. Glad to see some people showing up for this. We're gonna have to come back through here and tidy everything up, but the other thing is I should go along the coastline with with some stuff. Ooh, that's a wet nose on my leg. Hi, Lafayette. I should go along the coastline with some splines and do some work out there. Seems are nice to listen to in the background. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad you've got something to listen to. The name it B165. Why? Why B165? Making a map and listening to this makes it easier. A map as in a train's route, or a map as in like you're drawing up a map? Let's push the trees back a little bit. Yeah, we'll try to get this as far as I reasonably can. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Okay, cool. I don't want to get too ahead of myself here because I know that I will forget about stuff and not come back to it. Somebody will have to point it out to me later. Sometimes that's what gets me, Sometimes that's what slows me down is the thought of like, oh, well, what if I haven't done everything in this area and what order should I be doing everything in? Earlier it screwed me up a little bit because I should have done the copy pasting first, which, thinking back, was kind of obvious. But I didn't, and then I ended up wasting a little bit of time on eventually doing that. So let's just go up to this bridge and call it. We'll go along the shoreline with some spline points. Okay. So oh, and I'm missing this section here. Well, let's grab these splines and try to fill in all that dirt. That's not splines. Starting over here, because I don't think there's anything we're missing down here in the swamp. I'm pretty sure everything up to the swamp is done.
What are you doing in my swamp?
Don't worry, I have a building called Shrek's Hut in there. Just a little hut. You hungry? Have the rest of the casserole.
No, you said you wanted it.
I don't care.
Then what are you gonna eat?
I don't know, I'll throw a pizza in the oven.
I can just make this pizza and we can scrounge the casserole before we leave. Just eat the dish.
Hot.
Small chicken bacon ranch.
Yeah, but I don't want to try to eat during this again. So,
Are you?
you should just eat. No, I'm halfway through. Go eat the rest of the casserole.
No! God damn it!
We're probably going to want to stop for dinner on the way anyway. It's not like we're not going to be getting there obscenely late. It's like we leave, and then we're going to get stuck in traffic at some point, so we might as well leave, find food, and then continue when it gets, after the traffic dissipates a little bit. As long as we're leaving at, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, even.
Is your dad coming to get him tomorrow?
I believe so, yes. Well, then throw a pizza in and I'll eat my pieces later. You are? What how? Apparently I'm being a brat. I think she's projecting. I think I'm in trouble.
I'm what now?
You're projecting.
I almost tripped over the dog's Kong. It almost broke my neck.
Please don't.
Oh, hello!
Speaking of the dog, and he's gone.
He ran through here with his lion. I'm not projecting. You're being a brat.
How so?
Would you like to eat the casserole? I was like, no, because you wanted the casserole.
And I say I don't want the casserole that much. You can eat whatever you want. I'm not going to be upset at you if you eat the rest of the casserole. I know, right? Where? Where is it?
It's on the threshold of the door.
I don't know where the
on
tissue.
the couch. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, baby, I just thought of this. You said you couldn't find a proper Volvo mask. Maybe at the Volvo Club of America they'll have masks.
Yeah, maybe they'll have masks for sale. That'd be neat.
Those are the bugs I found on the rice. I don't know where the hell they're coming from.
Probably the rice.
Well, we threw out the rice.
I know, but enough of them must have escaped.
No, baby, they were all dead. There was only one in there.
Well, I mean, you gotta, I don't know. They're coming from somewhere. Maybe that's what they friggin' are. If they're cicadas, they're the quietest cicadas I've ever seen. What is the thing about abandoned rails? There's an abandoned stretch of main line here. We're actually looking at it. Let's see. Okay, now I see some more spots that are missing. Hey, East. Hey, kiddo. Let's see. Anything more along the shore? Right here. Although this is supposed to be grass. This is our mud/dirt. Yes. What? I'm sorry. Play with the dog. He also bored. I'm probably going to play with him when I'm done with this. Why? I love that girl. Damn, the ocean rises. What? Oh my god. Lafayette just killed a bug in midair. What a good boy. What happened? Yeah, you gotta, yeah. The dog will just lose focus, and then you'll throw the thing for the dog, and the dog will not notice that you threw it. And he'll look at you like, so you gonna throw it? Uh, let's just fill this in. The more of these little spaces that are done, the happier I am by a wide margin. I love playing with the dog because it's exercise for everybody involved. The dog, Lafayette, plays one half of fetch. As in, he goes and gets the thing, but he doesn't bring it back, so then you've got to chase him around for it. Now he's chasing Gloria around. Just filling in this gap here. Which, honestly, I shouldn't have even left a gap. What happened? What happened? Yeah, see, this is what it should look like. This is where the Magic Railroad is. Wait a second, what is this line? This is the abandoned right-of-way of the Jefferson and Gilson, which was the predecessor to the Gilson Eastern, which is this railroad here. I do intend that there are, like, significant forested sections on some of these plots. Like, again, like right here. Oh, you know what we need to do, though? We need to, A, finish with this. What did he do? Oh my god, he's going full speed. Does he have enough water? Okay. Alright, so I have to clear all the trees out from the river. Give me a minute for that. I didn't do my due diligence and put these splines along the river first, which would have been smart. If that wooden bridge could remain intact. I mean, look at some trestles in the Pacific Northwest that have just stuck around. Just continued to exist. The only thing that the trestle maybe couldn't have survived would be the hurricanes, you know? But I mean, the trestle's pretty low to the ground. The worst thing that could happen to it would be a washout. And I'm probably not going to go into that much detail over here. Oops. Alright, there we go. There we go. So now we have this. The only thing I don't like about this is the fact that I can see the edge of the other side from here. Part of me would love to fill this in, but I'm not that crazy. I like how the bugs in my house didn't really start appearing until late summer. Like, there must have been something that happened where suddenly they found a way to get in, or suddenly they, must have been one bug that got in, and there was a hole in the bag of rice, and so then they just multiplied, and now they're living in the walls. But hopefully they'll all die in the winter. It worked most of the spent most of the summer with very few bugs in the house, and now here we are. Not even any ants. The ants just started showing up. It's like, really? You waited? Think it's because we got a dog? Yeah, but I don't think it has anything to do with him.
Oh.
Alright.
Chasing him around wears me out.
I know, I said something like the fun thing about, or the best thing about playing with a dog is everyone gets exercise. Oh, he's back. And he's gone. I'm gonna clean the corners here. I'm gonna have to take care of anything that's over the line, although the stuff up here doesn't matter. The stuff down here does. I think ants aren't good in any situation. No, I mean, ants are not good. You don't want ants. That's for sure. Just like, it's normally a seasonal thing where at the beginning of the season, the ants start showing up, you put down a couple ant traps, and that's that. But that didn't happen at the beginning of the season. They didn't even show up last year. I think the ant hills were shut down for COVID too. And, like, I had no ant problems in the whole of 2020. And so now here we are in 2021, in the almost the fall of 2021. I mean, it's September now, and like now there's problems. Now the ants are here. Their lockdown ended. Our lockdown ended, and there was a bag of rice with a hole in it, and that's it. Uh, okay. Also, these giant trees need to get back away from the trolley lines. There's a famine with animals eating human food. Yeah, I mean, that's true. I'm not sure how that has to do with the ants, though. It's not like the ants' main source of food went anywhere. The ants' main source of food is like the crumbs you drop on the floor. So we filled in a couple of very important gaps so far in terms of texturing and stuff. The remaining question is what to do with this area. And the thing that upsets me is, once upon a time, I had this area done, and the game crashed and I lost it. I had something that I very much liked. But the way I did this definitely makes me think, oh, I intended for there to be groves of trees on this land, and I think that's what I'm going to end up going with. It'll be easy. I'm not sure how realistic it'll be, but it'll be easy. So, anyway. Yeah, and I didn't do stuff for the edge of this either. Huge problem when they were like 7 years old. A whole new colony of them entered our basement through a crack in the floor. Jesus. That's when you get out the molten aluminum. Pour it down an anthill. Anyway. Now, when you're a homeowner, you get a lot more concerned because it's like, oh, are these ants, are they living in the patio or are they living in the wood of the house? And I don't know the answer to that, and that's a concerning question. Alright, the other thing is, with traffic, that's 10 miles an hour on that loop. This is 30. this is 40. I think I'm actually going to make it 50 for this. Or at least 45. Okay, the highest I can get is 45. Oh wait, never mind, I lied. I'm not sure how fast a PCC can get up to. I know we have people that know the answer to that question. I'm not sure, but I want them to go pretty quick on this stretch. And then we'll switch it back to 40 over here. When we go out on the road there. $50 to $60. Yeah, that would make sense. That lines up with what I thought, I guess. And this looks like it needs to be straightened. There we go. Miles per hour. Freedom units. I was pretty sure they could go at what you might call highway speeds, you know? Yeah, see, now none of the signals are working. Oh, I thought it was an hour. There's that hill. You can do some pretty crazy things in trolley cars, though. I don't know if they should go that high. I think that's about right. Love you. I responded. So, seeing as we're here, then we have a rather important thing to do, which is we need to set up the trolley schedules. I think you were pushing the limits, and I love it. Good. Now, that's going to be hard for a number of reasons. One, because of just how these guys are supposed to run. And two, because it's almost impossible to test. Also, what's going on with this road? Oh. Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, I gotta work on that, huh? I'm gonna put that on my list. See the despair of texturing all of that. Thankfully, most of it's gonna be copy-paste. Let's see. Goals, scenery. Mason Valley Drawbridge. That I will have to fix at a future time. Now we have about an hour left, and I want to focus on this. So, I did put signals in the wall for the end of track. Of course, these have buffer stops, which works just fine. When would a trolley car need to go 60 when it's going between, when it's an interurban going between cities? Or towns, I suppose. Interurban networks used to be just positively gigantic. Like, crazy, honestly. So, what is it that I need these cars to do? They need to leave early in the morning. Like, the first run is probably going to be at... There's just 4 and a 5th out of service. The first run is probably going to be at no later. How big is this line at one point? I honestly not really any bigger than this, except that it's a substantial freight operation. I'm going to look up the schedule for the Mattapan Ashmont trolley. Because this is what I obviously have begun basing this on. And I want to know what is the earliest time that these run. So when hours of operation, Monday to Friday, inbound 5:51 to 1:03 a.m., outbound 6:03 to 1:13 a.m. I said it. I said the number. So 5:51. See, the other thing is I don't know when the first train of the day on the main line is, and I would want to sync up with that. Uh, but I would say the first train leaves at the earliest 5 o'clock, maybe 5:30 from here, from the station. And yeah, we could say the first train makes it out of here at 6 o'clock. So in order not to be outdone, these are out at 5:50. First one's out at 5:50, which means the first train would leave here at 5:30-ish. I mean, gonna be honest though, I don't remember how long it takes for a train to make a full rotation of the route here. I need to keep an eye on this. I need to take notes about this. Oh boy. Well, the tram should arrive early of at least 5 minutes. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Like with a 5-minute headways, I don't think that's possible. So, I don't... Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do some math, and we're going to drive a trolley. In fact, do I have the autopilot command available? Edit session. Driver command. Edit. I don't have an autopilot command. I don't have an auto drive. Is that just built in now? Whatever, we'll use navigate to. So let's do this. Let's save. And if I switch it to driver mode, what happens to this stuff? Well, whatever. Let's do it. Worst case scenario, we end up with one of these. So it is 11:45. Oh, you know what? We don't. Hold on. Just back to surveyor mode for a minute. All right. Now we're gonna do it like this. We need to know how long it takes for one run of the trolley. Drive session. Drive session. Where am I? Oh. I wanted to check my DM. Well, I guess I can do that. You guys can't see this screen. But I don't want to get into a conversation with somebody. What did Pat write? Oh, that's cool. Thank you for throwing some books at me. I don't know where my phone is. Hope nobody's trying to call me. No flaming clue. Okay, so what time it's 11:45 still. That's not right. If I switch back to surveyor mode, what happens? Achievement tracking. Oh. Edit session. Quick drive rule. So time to 5 o'clock with a rate of 1x. Oh, okay. Although this stuff is not going to work at all yet. Check mark. Now what happens? Okay, there we go. So it's 5 o'clock. Can't see a damn thing. Wait until 5:01. No, this is what we're going to do. Let's get this thing moving. We're going to run this as like an express, basically. Navigate to industry. MVTC ML station. Oh crap, we need to set where is control center, schedule info, session options? No, that's not it. Although I kind of want to set it at 10 o'clock so that we can actually see. Alright, scratch that. Okay, back out. Exit driver. Don't save. What we need to do first is make a schedule for these trolleys that does the whole loop. And then we're going to have to see how long that takes. Whoops, and I opened a new tab by accident. So I'm still thinking 550. In fact, I should probably write that down. MVTC automation notes. First trolley leaving MV station at 5:50 a.m. That is the first note. So we need to go into here. We need to go into edit session. We need to go into schedule library because this is going to be one of the most important things. The only other thing is we don't have any track marks to use right now. And so we're going to need to add track marks. So turn off gradients. Turn on markers. They're on, of course. We don't have any. And okay. We're going to need our standards for this as well. So just double checking, we're doing this on the route layer. Track marker back a ways. Okay, and I actually want this one back here. There's got to be, I'm going to have to do something with this for the interlocking tower. I know that much. The only thing is, there's no signal between here and here. So it's a little bit perplexing. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do here. I might just set this up as an ATLS crossing. Originally, I thought I was going to do something with the interlocking tower, but I think that's going to be too complicated. So, where are our standards? There they are. For track marks, railroad town description and then number if necessary. So that means this is MVTC. That's Mason Valley Transit. MVTC, MV. Oh wait, I had two-letter abbreviations for all of these. So MV-ML, ML dash interlocking approach west. Right? This is the, well, actually, this is the north side. So then we'll do ML, MV, interlocking approach. This is west. ML, MV, interlocking approach south. Okay, so we've got these two. These are, I think, the only ones we really need. Although we should probably use ones here on the loops just in case. I don't want this to be screwing up. And honestly, it's looking like we're going to be spending a lot more time making this than we are using it. So, you know, whatever. At least this episode. So, this is going to be MVML downtown loop. I'll turn this around the right way. Things that I've heard with regard to automation often go something like, put the minimum number of track marks and add them as you go. Which makes sense, but I don't really feel like doing too much trial and error at this very second. So we're going to put down a bunch of track marks instead. Alright, see you, Dragon. ML, or MV, ML, station loop. Okay, so what's next? The rest of this doesn't really need track marks. Yeah, I don't think it does. There's enough stations here that things should be fairly straightforward. Yeah. The only thing is, I feel like I should add one here, but we don't need that right now. Yeah, I think it should be fine the way it is. The only thing is if, yeah. Yeah. Alright, let's try to build a schedule. So, with no particular trolley in mind, we're going to do this. Edit session. Oh, we didn't do the industry names. We need to set that up. We need to standardize that. Before we use or do anything, it needs to be brought into the fold in terms of the standards, because if we don't do that, we're gonna have to do things twice. Town name use. Oh, we don't have a station track standard. Station track. Let's see. Town. Railroad. Name. And then track. Okay. So let's put that into practice. So this would be ML, MV, northbound. ML, MV, southbound. Actually, I'm going to call this Boulevard. Instead of just north. Alright, let's work on the other ones. Let's see. ML, MV, Bridge, Street, northbound. ML, MV, Bridge, Street, southbound. Actually, we should probably fix the other ones as well, so they're... Let's see. What's a good name for this boulevard? Yeah? Okay. Gloria said suck my cock. I'm naming it Mike Hawk Boulevard. No, Mike Hawk. Actually, wait. Let's see. There we go. Fixing it. Sugma. Sugma Boulevard. I hope she's happy. She has an advantage over the rest of you guys. She doesn't have to lay. ML, MV, station. Let's see. It's not Union Station. It would just be, GERR Station. Or Station Way. Station Way, and this is southbound. Sells only sports ball. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. I'm doing MV on these. This is not MV. This is ML. Or no. Wait. Double backwards. Town railroad name track. So that would be MV. MV Station Way. Unless we have a better name for this. No. So let's smooth that over. MV, Bridge Street. I can see how this, using the double acronyms could become problematic, actually. Uh, MV. Okay, back here to the other ones. Let's see. So that one's done. I think the only other one on this run is School Street. MV, School Street. And this is actually, what? Eastbound? Westbound. Okay. Okay. On the way down, this is Doe Cliff, or Upper Doe Cliff. So, I don't have an abbreviation for this, I don't think. Doe Cliff, I think that'd be DC. DC, and I said, yeah, town name first, right? Town Railroad, DC, MV, Upper Doe Cliff, southbound. I know, yeah. DC, MV, Upper Doe Cliff, northbound. Okay. This is where we get to name stuff. This is going to be predictably Water Street. DC, unless people have better names for things. DC, MV, Water Street. Am I too late again this week? I mean, no, we still got 45 minutes. Water Street, northbound. DC, MV. This would be Main Street. Southbound. I'm also trying to make sure that I use the abbreviations and not the full spellings of the street names. Graham's Farm, Memorial Bridge, Memorial Farm. Yes, we do. Holy crap, you're absolutely right. I can put a little farm right here. Oh wait, sorry, we have the castle up here. I didn't put a name on this? Oh wait, our named thing's not showing. No, I guess this doesn't show. Graham's Farm, Memorial Castle, Memorial Farm, Memorial Bridge. Hold on. There we go. How about the Silverton? And we're going to do a small farm over here, so let me just draw an F to remind myself. F. And I should remember who it's about, so I'm going to write F, and then I'm going to write Graham. Just kidding. How about the Silverton? Okay, back to naming things. That's not going to be the final... Oh, this has to be run by an interlocking tower, that's right. Farm as a flag stop. Honestly, though, it probably deserves a flag stop because this would be a hell of a tourist attraction right here. Oh, I just heard my phone. Still don't know where it is. I just heard it. Is it on the floor somewhere? Oh, it's behind the couch. Whatever. Anyone ever naming it Gerald the Funny? We'll have a Gerald Road. Instead of another station way, we'll call this Gerald Road. Let's see. MLMV Gerald Road. Gerald Road. This is technically southbound? No, this is technically westbound. Gotta run a switchback up to the castle. Nah, I don't think we're doing that. Let's see. What do we name this street? Because this one isn't Main Street. This one has got to be, let's see. Well, this road ends here, so this is like the beach street. I mean, are we just going to call it Mason Road? Because this would have been Mason's Landing, like right over here. Abrupt Street. I think MLMV. Mason Road. And then this is southbound. Okay. So I think that's all the stations. Now we need to build the schedule. Lafayette, what are you doing? What are you doing? Come here. Come here. Come say hi. I know you said hi at the beginning. Come here. Hi. Hi. Look. Look at you. You want to leave already? You don't want to be up here? Oh, who's that? Who's that? Who's that? Go get her. Go get her. She's the other direction, Lafayette, not over there. Okay. I didn't know that you played City Skylines. Well, I don't. I've never bought it. It's been on my wish list for about ever. And I've never like wanted to get it. I just don't feel like I have the time to invest. I'd rather play SimCity 4. Okay, right, so we're building this. Forget trains, I'm just here for Laffy. Ain't we all? Edit session. Schedule library. Let's see if we can do this from memory. So these things are going to pull out of the staging yard. Except they've got to do a half a loop first. Because what they've got to do is pull out of the staging yard, go down to the boulevard station. Yeah. And you know what? Let's visualize this really quick. When a trolley comes out of storage at the beginning of the day, it runs out of here, across the drawbridge, down here, through here. Then why YouTube categorized it as City Skylines? Oh, what, this video? I don't know, it shouldn't. It'll, I guess, run light through here, go around this loop, run up the boulevard, through the old freight yard, past the bridge, or it'll pick up passengers at the bridge, through here, through the station, and then it'll run around this loop, and then here it'll begin the actual schedule. So this is where the loop properly begins. So that means when we do the schedule library, I'm going to move this down. When we do the schedule, I guess I can't. Oh, I can edit rule. When we do the schedule library, it has to start here. So notice that that name is all screwed up. So navigate to. I think we actually want drive to and not navigate to. We don't want it to worry about other trains that are in the way, because it might try to go backwards. So that means driver command, we need drive to station V2, or just drive to. Actually, what are these? What is the difference? Drive to station V2, drive to track mark list, drive to track mark list, drive to industry. I wish these guys had descriptions. 25 minutes later, we're actually making the schedule. Drive to. Oh, I like it's navigate to ... No. Drive to, the first station is in Mason's Landing. So, oh sorry, the first station is in MV. MV Station Way northbound. And then it's going to unload, and it's going to load, and it's going to blow the horn. Horns. And it's going to wait 5 seconds. Then it's going to drive to the next thing. The next thing is, although let's do all of these first. Drive to MV Bridge Street northbound. Right, we're going northbound. Whoops. God damn it. MV Bridge Street northbound. Platform 1. Yeah. And then we're going to drive to MV Sugma Boulevard northbound. Platform 1. And then we're going to drive to MV. Actually, we're leaving MV at that point. We're going to Doe Cliff. So Upper Doe Cliff northbound. Yes. And then drive to Water Street northbound. Yep, that's the next one. Drive to the next one is going to be in Mason's Landing. So ML Gerald Road, Platform 1. And then drive to, let's see, not DC. ML, what? Where is it? Oh, ML Mason Road, Platform 1. Yes, my love? I love you. Yeah. I'm about half an hour from the end. Love you. Okay, so Mason Road, southbound Platform 1. Next thing. We're going back up the line. So the next thing is in Doe Cliff. That would be Main Street. The next thing is Upper Doe Cliff. So Upper Doe Cliff. The next thing is back here. That's Sugma Boulevard again. Sugma Boulevard, southbound. We've almost come full circle. We're doing Bridge Street. Up to the Bridge Street. Bridge Street southbound, yes. The next thing is drive to It's another MV School Street. Oh wait, no. Station Way, southbound, and then School Street, and that's it. And this could be more complicated than this, but it's just going to do this. MV State. Oh wait, that's it. School Street's the last one. Oh wait, I didn't put it in. MV School Street. There we go. Okay. And just like everything. Oh god. Pat got cat. Alright, unload. And then load. And then horns. And then wait for 5 seconds. Oh, you know what? We could do it like this. 5 seconds. Horns. Load. Unload. Yeah, this is easier. Wait for 5 seconds. Horns. And then load. And then unload. Wait for 5 seconds. Horns. We're gonna be here in a minute. We're gonna be here for a minute. Unload and unload. If you guys are hanging in there, feel free to ask questions. I know I've covered all the comments in the previous episode. If you are here right now and you're watching this as a VOD, as a video on demand, you are totally welcome to leave a comment as a question for me for next time. Let's wait for 5 seconds. Load. Unload. Man, I've only got like a lot of these left. I wonder if it'd be quicker if I just did it like this. Just assembly line it. Just get in the groove of adding in the wait fors, and then get in the groove of adding in the other things. The only thing that's making this actually really quick right now is the fact that I didn't have to move the scroll bar. If you want to do stuff in a timely manner, you gotta be smart about it. Or you can listen to me. Yeah, the further spread these get apart, the harder it's going to be to do this like quickly and efficiently. Horns. 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 Okay, so we've made it to the point where we can just start adding load and unload commands. So starting with a load command, then before that an unload command, and then a load command. What happened? I just clicked on this. Runtime editing. I don't know what that is. Oops. Unload. I don't know what. Oh, I get it. Oh, that's actually kind of cool. That is really helpful. That may be really helpful in the future. Unload, followed by load. I know I'm being wonky with the order here. I'm just doing whatever is quickest. Oh, yeah, here we go. Load, which follows an unload. I wish I could copy and paste. That'd be cool. Followed by a load. It should be a multiple of 4, which is a giveaway if I've missed something. Unload and a load. Oh, whoops. In the wrong order. It seems that I've missed something. Oh wait, no, it should be a multiple of 5, sorry. was the socioeconomic climate of Mason Valley? Um, Mason Valley is very socioeconomic climate. Well, it's all mill workers. Um, it's not quite, you know, I owe my soul to the company store. But no one here makes a ton of money. Uh, Basically, everyone is employed by either one of the mills or a railroad, and there are a handful of, you know, people that are, uh, people that are in the service industry, but not a ton of them. Uh, the city would be maybe not, well, probably predominantly white, but also have a fairly significant amount of people who are of native descent. And I do say just native. I know I'm not specifying, but because this is supposed to be like a, not necessarily on Earth. Uh, yeah. So there is, it's not poverty. Everybody has a good job, but again, they're mill jobs and they don't pay super well. And yeah, it's middle to lower middle class. There aren't people here that necessarily are uncomfortable. But, alright, anyway, we're gonna try. Oh, wait, we need to do one more thing. So, ooh, why are you big? Tiny Dude is big now. So, we have this schedule in the library. That's full service. We need to make a thing for driver setup. And so, this is gonna be wait until. Or, sorry, wait until. Let's see, let's try 5:30. Um, and then drive to. Oh, you know what? Tiny Dude is big now. Yeah. We need another track mark here. Um, and how do we do track marks? I'll get a hang of this eventually. Railroad town description number. So, railroad, which is MV. Town, which is MV. Description, which is Sugma Boulevard Loop. So we're going to do drive via Sugma Boulevard Loop. And then we're going to have it deadhead all the way. Let's see. MV. What is this street? Oh, I had to name a street something. Somebody said abrupt something, or there was another. Oh, abrupt street. Yeah. Abrupt street. So. Let's see if we can get this to work. Edit session. Driver setup. How long does the tramway trolley thing last in terms of age? It probably is not long for this world at this time. But, it's also funded by the locales. So, yeah. It may end up lasting a lot longer than you might expect. I haven't nailed that one down yet. So, navigate or drive via track mark. MVML station loop. Oh, I already have these? Wait a minute. Oh, downtown loop, station loop. Oh, I need to rename this one. And this one. But they're actually fine the way they are. Uh, drive via Sugma Boulevard Loop. Drive via track mark. Um, MV Abrupt Street. And then, okay, actually I want to do this. Copy commands from append from library MVTC full service. Town on the decline, possibly. I wouldn't necessarily say on the decline, but it is in a precarious spot, if anyone knows industrial towns of the 50s. Start all rules. Anyway, let's save. Let's try not to break things. Again, I don't know what's going to happen when I do this. Driver mode. Wait until 5:30. Well, we're not going to do that. So it does that, it appends, and it goes. I also am going to change the time because I would like to change the time. Oh, whatever. I guess we're doing it in the dark. Oh, I need to put some, oh, you know what? Let me do that. Goals, operations, MVTC, uh, MVTC speed limits in car barn. Let's work for next time. Alright, so now it'll pick up some speed. Oh, and the signals are working too, which is nice. This is not an interurban car, but whatever, it'll do. It's got Monkey Bananas Limited, the ruler of everything. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so we're going to watch this guy go around the loop. Hopefully he will not try to reverse to get to the other thing. Yeah, I hear that flange squeal. Just want to make sure I'm not hitting anything. I think you can change the time in the second to last tab under session options. God damn it, why are you doing this? I knew it. Okay, so we need another track mark somewhere. Okay, hold on. I need to, don't save. I need to go back into this. Edit session. I got some DMs. Okay. We need another track mark. Unless something is broken, which is always a possibility. But I think it should be fine. I mean, this obviously is giving us trouble, but we made it out of the other switches, which are also problematic. Let's see. What if I just added a track mark here at Bridge Street? So this would be MV, Old Bridge Street Yard, perhaps. Yeah, track mark, town description. Old Bridge Street Yard. And this is southbound. There we go, put it on the route layer. Oh, tell me these other guys are on the route layer. Did I mess that up? Alright, I did not. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Okay, it's back. Was worried about that for a minute. Okay, so edit session, driver setup, drive via track mark. Oh, Old Bridge Street Yard. And now let's try it. Oh wait, let's save first. The thing with having the AI running is if you flip it over, the AI starts to move. I don't actually know what happens, when you want to flip it back. You got to put all the trains back. Okay, so never mind over that. Wait, how come I couldn't? Oh, because I didn't have one selected. Was wondering why I couldn't edit. And driver mode. Why am I just over here? Okay, so you're going to take a minute to get out of here because you need to throw some switches. Actually, do you? Yeah, you need to throw one. Anyway. Let me just make sure, are there... I guess all of these worked. So maybe it is just a legitimate problem? Are you going to throw the switch or not? He's taking his sweet time. He's stuck. You kidding me? You made it out of here a minute ago. You're okay, there we go. I was gonna say, you're joking. You're actually joking. I probably should throw in some invisible signals there. Excessive curve speed. Yeah, no kidding, because I don't have the speed limits in yet. Trolley car, drawbridge. Sugma Boulevard. And we go. Sort of. Guy in this game has tendency to be more A than I. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I mean, he figured it out. It just took him longer than I would have hoped. I need to put some street lights over here. That would kind of fit. It would definitely belong, I think. Alright, we'll see if he decides to go backwards this time. I really hope not. Let's see, how much time have we got? We've got about another 15 minutes of stream. But he's still going straight. Yeah, he did it! He threw the switch. Incredible. Nobody thought that this could have been possible. Yeah, so this guy's just gonna deadhead up the loop. The second one is probably just gonna go straight to the other end of the track. Of course, we can't sit here and watch this whole run as much as I would like to, and as much as I'm sure some of you guys would enjoy it. Is this 20 over here, really? I figured I'd make it a little faster. Oh, there we go. There we go. 25 because we're yellows, or because we're slowing down again? Why are we slowing down? This is definitely the intelligence happening. Alright. And we figured out how to gas it again. And there we go. Made it through there. We're slowing down again for no reason. We're speeding up again. I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see how long this actually takes to do a full loop properly. I could set up something where it sends out notifications when it runs, when it does it. The reason I was people make AI trains things that move in the background, yeah. Well, instead of making them the entire thing. Yeah, fair enough. But I ain't about that life. I should probably up the speed limits on road to like 25. At least 25. Because 20 is pretty slow. So, you know, I think speed limit in town would be 25, maybe 30. So 20 is just robbing these guys, I think. Let's just make sure he makes it around the other loop, and then we'll talk about some short lines. In fact, I actually already have the map open. The question is, where will there be proper room for short lines? And what will they be doing? One of them, obviously, is the formerly Gilson Eastern part of line that is now the Mansfield Branch Railroad. But that is just one example, and that was added in kind of late. The thing is, the fact of the matter is, with the amount of railroads that are on this peninsula already, there's not a ton of room for other short lines. These guys really do take their sweet time throwing switches, huh? Making sure I'm not hitting any poles. You can see the beautiful birds in the distance. I actually really like this view. That is a very scenic look right there. Oh, right there. With the lights and the windows and everything. That's fantastic. Honestly, I love that. Alright, so now you're navigating to, are you driving to the station platform? That's great. Just gotta slow down and make the corner. And you'll be on your way. Now, this is where I would measure it. I might even leave this running for a little bit just to see how long it takes. It'd be nice if I could probably set it up so that I could have it measure it and then just pause the game, and then it could take a note of the time. But it takes, you know, 7 minutes to do the exiting the car barn thing, so that would be, or sorry, 8 minutes. So in reality, it would be 5:38 at this point in time. It's gonna look neat when it's all done. Yeah, you're right about that. Why did this just go yellow to red? Or, sorry, green to... Yellow. You better not be going the other way, man. Oh, he doesn't even know where he's trying to go yet, so he couldn't possibly know. Alright, cool. So 508, and then however long it takes after that is just going to be it. Like I said, the second train is probably going to come out of the car barn right after this one, and it's just going to deadhead straight to Mason's Landing and start there. And then the other two we'll worry about later. But yeah, I mean, let's talk about short lines. Let me do this. Let me show my screen. Turn off Train 2019. There we go. There's the infinite looping portal tunnel. So here is the Gilson Eastern, or sorry, here is a Tolbrin map. Now there are some railroads that are off map. You know, we said the TV and ARR is supposed to be on here somewhere. But we have our major railroads here. Now, what other railroads could we have? Maybe another one that leads out of Wombeck. Can I zoom in, please? Thank you. Maybe another one that leads out of Wombeck either into the woods here or into the mountains or down this peninsula here. That could be something. Of course, we wouldn't be building this. We'd just be building this section. We could have... There are a couple opportunities for railroads. There could be a little connecting railroad that runs from Tidebow down this way, like up where the highway is. There could be some that run up here, or there's this connection from Tombstone, which is Zion and Skyline, but it could be another railroad. There just isn't a ton of room for other short lines. Honestly, the segment from Bellington to Appleton could be its own railroad. Same thing with this section here. I mean, this whole connection could be. There are other railroads that could exist out in the mountains here. It's just kind of inhospitable. The only thing you'd see them doing is a small operation that runs to, say, a mine. And I can't see why that wouldn't get snapped up by one of these other things. It's possible that this section of the VMR, the disconnected section, could exist as its own railroad. Which wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea. It would be a neat thing to do. But other than that, I can't think of too many good places for one. So here we are, we're going back onto Sugden Boulevard. This thing says you're about to run a red, but you're not. So that was weird. And then you're going to head out onto the main line. So, yeah, I mean, there are some things on this map that could have been their own independent railroad at one point or another. For example, the Z&T here, which would eventually become part of the Zion and Skyline. That's something I just made up. But also, this from Gilson South to Tombstone, that was its own railroad at one point, I believe. And yeah, I mean, you're really just left to question what would have been its own thing given, or what would have remained its own thing now in the modern era of the 1950s equivalent, but still maintain some sort of connection, you know, and hadn't been bought up, but was still relevant, you know. And there could be a couple of really small short lines, a la the Mashasek or the Warwick Railway, but even those in real life ended up in the hands of the New Haven. So, you know, some of these connections, like this, or like, you know, like this that I mentioned earlier, or like this even, although this is too important because Zion is where the steel mill is. There could be some branches that are their own railroad, and we will cross that bridge when we come to it. I just don't necessarily see that being a huge deal. Not on this map. There just isn't. There ain't enough room in this town, partner. And if it's so enough because it seems a dead end. Yeah, it's a dead end. Its only real relevance is its connection to the VMR there, and it was supposed to be the start of the Gilson Eastern's Mountain Division, which never happened. They might be hanging on to it because they just put those plans in their back pocket and are just waiting, waiting to see. Oh well, maybe someday. Um, if anything, it would have become part of the Mansfield Branch Railroad, but as we can see on the map, I suppose it didn't. The other thing that it provides an opportunity to do, if we want to look at this again, these connections here, because we have a big sort of loop here, although this is a bridge, and this doesn't connect to here, which it almost does. The Gilson Eastern is probably wanting to buy this section, so that they can continue their mountain division over this, I guess. I suppose their ultimate goal would be to buy up and upgrade Geyer Mountains trackage from Appleton, or sorry, once you get out of Appleton, once you get out of this section here, you buy up Geiger Mountains trackage through here, you rebuild this, and then you buy up the giant Nakin extension, and boom, you've got a path all the way to Everett Lake, which isn't super helpful for them, but it is competitive. It's a way to cut in on the ZNS, it's a way to cut in on the VMR a little bit. It's a way to get stuff up this way. It's not a very straightforward way, but it's a way to do it without putting stuff on a 3-foot gauge car and then putting it back on a standard gauge car or on a barge. So, you never know. I could see a couple of little independent narrow gauge railroads that are on this map somewhere. But for that, we will have to see. Those little things are things that I'll probably be developing as I get to them. Just, they're not on the map right now. Those little details are things that I'll figure out as I start building. And there's the big old clock in the living room telling me it's time to end the stream. So I appreciate you guys tuning in, and maybe next time we'll be able to ride this up and down while I answer some questions, talk about some things, and we'll see how long it lasts. Anyway, thank you guys. This has been the Admiral, signing off. Oh wait, I gotta hit end stream over.